The blue-green planet hung in the darkness of space, just one more world to add to the vast catalogs of the Galactic Confederation. Captain June stood on the bridge of the distant horizon watching through the main view screen as Earth grew larger. Her dark hair was pulled back in a tight bun, her uniform crisp despite the long journey from Confederation space. "Another primitive world," Science Officer Quan said, not looking up from his console. "Initial scans show basic technology only. No space travel capabilities. No significant energy output." Captain June nodded. This was her 15th survey mission. The routine had become familiar. Scan, catalog, assess for potential future contact, then move on. The Confederation had mapped millions of star systems and hundreds of thousands of worlds. Earth was supposed to be one more unremarkable entry in that vast database. "We'll follow standard protocol," she said. "Establish high orbit, run comprehensive scans, and send down a small team for biological samples." The ship glided into position above the planet's northern hemisphere. Quan frowned at his readings. "Captain, I'm detecting something unusual. An energy signature beneath the southern polar ice cap. It doesn't match any known natural phenomenon." June moved to his station, studying the readouts. Could it be artificial? If it is, it's unlike any technology we've cataloged before. June tapped her communication badge. "Professor Han, please report to the bridge." Professor Han was the expedition's archaeologist, a small man with spectacles and nervous hands. He arrived moments later, and June directed him to the sensor readings. "Does this match anything in our historical database?" The professor studied the readings carefully, then pulled up files on his personal device. "There are legends about this star system. Ancient warnings we discovered in the ruins of the Centauri civilization. They spoke of a world harboring a guardian that should remain undisturbed." "You never mentioned this before we arrived," June said, her voice sharp. Han shrugged. "Most scholars consider it mythology, Captain. The Centauri were prone to superstition. In 5,000 years of expansion, the Confederation has never found evidence to support such tales." June considered the information. Standard protocol would be to investigate any artificial structure. The Confederation valued knowledge above all else. "Prepare an expedition team. We'll investigate this energy signature." 6 hours later, June led a team of 7 specialists across the frozen Antarctic landscape. They wore environmental suits against the bitter cold, their boots crunching on the ancient ice. Massive drilling equipment had been transported down from the ship, its heat beam already melting a shaft through the thick ice cap. "We're nearly through," Engineer Doe reported, monitoring the drill's progress. "The structure is approximately 50 meters below us. What kind of structure could survive under ice for so long?" Medical Officer Min asked, her breath fogging inside her helmet. "We'll know soon enough," Jun replied. The drill broke through with a hiss of steam. Lights were lowered into the shaft, revealing a dark chamber below. The team descended cautiously on anti-gravity platforms. The chamber was vast and perfectly spherical, its walls made of an unknown black material that seemed to absorb light. The air was ancient but breathable. In the center stood a raised platform, and upon it, a transparent pod containing the humanoid figure. "Is it alive?" June asked, approaching carefully. Min ran a medical scanner over the pod. "Impossible to tell. The pod's material is blocking our scans." Professor Han moved around the chamber, examining symbols etched into the walls. "This language. I've never seen anything like it. The technology here is far beyond anything the Confederation has encountered." Engineer Doe studied the platform supporting the pod. "There appears to be a control interface here, Captain. Should I attempt to activate it?" June hesitated. The warnings Professor Han had mentioned echoed in her mind. But the Confederation's mission was to discover and understand. "Proceed carefully," she ordered. Doe placed his hand on the interface panel. Immediately, lights flickered to life throughout the chamber. The symbols on the walls began to glow with an internal blue fire. "We should leave," Security Officer Park said suddenly, raising his weapon. "Something's happening." Before they could move, energy fields sprang into existence, cutting off their retreat. The pod in the center began to hum, its surface becoming clearer. Inside was a man, or something that looked like a man. His body appeared human, but patterns of light moved beneath his skin, suggesting extensive modifications. His eyes remained closed, his expression peaceful. "The pod is initiating some kind of revival sequence," Min reported, watching her scanner. "Life signs are beginning to register." "Shut it down," Jun ordered, but Do shook his head. "I can't, Captain. The system has locked me out." The humming grew louder. The temperature in the chamber rose. The team backed away from the pod as the transparent material began to dissolve. "Weapons ready," Jun ordered, drawing her own sidearm. "But hold fire unless I command." The pod opened completely. For a moment, the figure remained motionless. Then, with a sudden intake of breath, his eyes snapped open. They were human eyes, but with an inner light that spoke of technology far beyond anything the Confederation possessed. Those eyes focused immediately on Captain Jun, seeming to look through her, analyzing and calculating. The Guardian sat up slowly, movements smooth despite 50,000 years of stasis. When he spoke, his voice was deep and perfectly clear, as though he had been asleep for mere hours rather than millennia. "Earth Protocol Sentinel activated. Threat assessment initiated." The team stood frozen as the Guardian rose to his full height. He was tall, his body obviously powerful beneath the simple white garment he wore. His gaze swept across them, taking in their features, their equipment, their weapons. "You are not the enemy," he said finally, "but you are not human. Why have you disturbed my rest?" Captain Jun stepped forward, holstering her weapon in a show of peace. "We are explorers from the Galactic Confederation. We did not know this facility was active." The Guardian's expression remained neutral, but the lights beneath his skin pulsed faster. "The Confederation. How long have I slept?" Professor Han stepped forward. "Our records suggest this planet has been uninhabited by advanced civilization for approximately 50,000 years." The Guardian closed his eyes briefly, as if in pain. When he opened them again, they burned with an intensity that made Jun step back. "Then I am the last," he said quietly. "The very last of my kind." Fire consumed the world in Commander Taz's memories. Flames reaching to the sky. Buildings falling. People screaming. The last days of humanity played in his mind like a broken recording that wouldn't stop. The memories felt fresh as Taz's eyes adjusted to the dim light of his chamber. The stasis technology was supposed to keep him in dreamless sleep, but the trauma had been too deep. Even in suspended animation, his enhanced brain had replayed those final moments over and over. 7 aliens stood before him now, their forms strange yet humanoid. They wore matching uniforms with symbols he didn't recognize. One female appeared to be their leader, her hand resting on a weapon at her hip. Taz's enhanced senses detected elevated heart rates. They were afraid. They spoke, but the sounds meant nothing to him. His implants worked to analyze the language patterns, searching for meaning. "Who are you?" Tai asked in the human common tongue, knowing they wouldn't understand. His voice was rough from disuse. The aliens looked at each other. The leader stepped forward and spoke slowly, gesturing to herself. "Captain Jun, Galactic Confederation." The words meant nothing to Tai, but his implants continued to work, building translation matrices. He needed information, and quickly. These weren't the swarm, the enemy that had hunted humanity across the stars. Their biological signatures were completely different. Ta focused his attention on the small device the scientist among them held. It was a data tablet of some kind. His eyes narrowed as microscopic machines in his retinas activated, establishing a wireless connection to the alien technology. The aliens didn't notice as Tai's enhanced brain began downloading their ship's database. Information flooded into his mind faster than any normal human could process it. Language, history, star charts, scientific knowledge. And with it came the horrifying truth. 50,000 years had passed since Tai entered stasis. 50,000 years since the final human stronghold fell. The Earth had healed from the scars of war, but humanity was gone. According to Confederation records, humans had evolved on Earth, developed basic technology, then mysteriously disappeared. Earth was classified as an origin world, a planet where intelligent life had evolved and then gone extinct before achieving interstellar travel. Tay's mind reeled at the lie. Humanity hadn't simply died out. They had been a spacefaring civilization with colonies on dozens of worlds. They had fought the swarm for generations before the final defeat. And no one remembered. The aliens were still talking among themselves when Tai stood up from the stasis pod. His muscles should have been weak after 50 millennia, but the nanomechanes in his bloodstream had maintained his body perfectly. "I understand you now," Ta said in their language, causing them all to fall silent and stare. "You are from the Galactic Confederation. You found me by accident. How can you speak our language?" The leader, Captain June, asked, her hand tightening on her weapon. "I learned it from your ship's database," Tay replied simply. The alien scientist looked down at his tablet in shock. "Impossible. Our systems would have detected any intrusion." Ta didn't bother explaining. Human technology had advanced far beyond what these aliens could comprehend during the war. The desperate fight for survival had pushed innovation to incredible heights. "Your records about Earth are wrong," Ta said. "Humans didn't die out as a primitive species. We were hunted to extinction by an enemy you haven't encountered yet." The aliens exchanged glances. He could see they didn't believe him. "The Sentinel Protocol was our last hope," Ta continued. "I volunteered to be transformed, to become Earth's guardian. I was to sleep until awakened by returning humans. Or what?" Captain June asked. "Or until the enemy returned." Ta walked to one of the chamber walls and placed his palm against a hidden panel. The wall came alive with light, displaying a three-dimensional star map of the galaxy. "Your confederation spans this region of space now, but humans once lived here, and here, and here." He pointed to various star systems. The alien archaeologist stepped closer, fascination overcoming his fear. "But we found no evidence of such advanced human settlements." "The enemy was thorough," Ta said. "They didn't just kill us. They erased us." Tay turned back to face the aliens. With his connection to their ship's database, he had learned much about the Confederation. They were explorers and traders, 5,000 years into their expansion across the galaxy. They had encountered many species, established diplomatic relations, built a civilization spanning thousands of worlds. And they had never faced a threat like the swarm. "Your ship has detected unusual energy readings from my chamber," Ta said. "But those are not from the stasis pod. This entire facility is a weapons platform. Earth was our last stronghold, and we made sure it was well defended." Captain June stepped back. "Weapons platform." Ta nodded. "When I entered stasis, hundreds of automated defense systems were hidden throughout the solar system. If they're still operational after 50,000 years, your presence here has likely activated their standby protocols." As if to confirm his words, a low rumble vibrated through the chamber. Ancient machinery, buried deep beneath the ice, was coming back to life. "I need to get to your ship," Ta said. "I need to see what's happened to the galaxy with my own eyes." "You're a prisoner, not a guest," the security officer said, raising his weapon. Ta looked at him with something like pity. "No, I'm the last human. The last guardian of a world that was once home to billions. And I need to know if any of my people survived somewhere among the stars." His gaze returned to Captain June. "I also need to know if the enemy that destroyed us is still out there, for your sake as much as mine." The decision in Captain June's eyes was clear before she spoke. "We'll take you to our ship, but you'll remain under guard." Ta nodded. It was enough for now. He took one last look around the chamber that had been his home for 50,000 years. the last vestige of human civilization on Earth. Then he followed the aliens up toward the stars that had once belonged to his people. The Galactic Confederation Central Council chamber buzzed with nervous energy. Emergency meetings were rare, and this one had been called with the highest priority alert. 52 representatives from across the galaxy sat in tiered seats, facing the central platform where First Minister Jin stood grim-faced. "The survey vessel Distant Horizon has been taken," she announced. "The being they discovered on Earth has seized control of the ship." Displays activated around the chamber, showing footage from the ship's security cameras. The human moved with unnatural speed, disabling security personnel with precise strikes that rendered them unconscious without serious injury. "As you can see," First Minister Jin continued, "the entity neutralized the entire security team in under 2 minutes. Captain Jun reports that he then accessed the ship's navigation systems and set course for Mars." "What are his demands?" asked the Norian representative, mandibles clicking nervously. "He has made none. He simply states that Earth is under his protection and that he wishes to assess the current state of the galaxy." High Admiral Minho stood from his seat. He was a tall, broad-shouldered man with silver hair and a face hardened by decades of military service. "With respect, First Minister, this situation calls for immediate military response. One primitive being cannot be allowed to hijack a Confederation vessel." "The being claims his civilization was spacefaring," Jin replied. "He says humans were hunted to extinction by an enemy force." Minho waved his hand dismissively. "Archaeological evidence contradicts this claim. Earth shows no signs of advanced technology. This is clearly a desperate attempt to appear more threatening than he is." The council murmured in agreement. The Confederation had thoroughly studied Earth before sending the survey mission. If humans had been an advanced civilization, there would have been ruins, artifacts, radiation signatures, something to indicate their technological development. "I have already dispatched the 3rd Battle Group to intercept the Distant Horizon *. Minho continued. 12 warships against 1 survey vessel. We will resolve this quickly." 3 days later, the 3rd Battle Group reached Mars orbit, where the Distant Horizon waited. On the bridge of his flagship Unyielding Force Admiral Minho viewed the small survey vessel on his main screen. "Open communications," he ordered. The communications officer worked at her console. "Channel open, Admiral. This is High Admiral Minho of the Galactic Confederation. You have illegally seized a Confederation vessel. Power down your systems and prepare to be boarded." The response came immediately, the human's voice calm and measured. "This is Commander Tai, Guardian of Earth. I seek information, not conflict. Earth remains under my protection by ancient compact." Minho's expression hardened. "You have no authority here. This solar system falls under Confederation jurisdiction." "No," Tai replied simply. "This system has been under human protection for over 100,000 years. Your presence here is tolerated, not authorized." Captain Jun appeared on screen beside the human. She looked unharmed but clearly tense. "Admiral, I recommend caution. He has capabilities we don't understand." "Are you collaborating with this primitive now, Captain?" Minho asked coldly. "I am trying to prevent unnecessary conflict," she replied. Minho turned to his tactical officer. "Target their engines. Disable the ship." "Sir," his science officer interjected, "I'm detecting unusual energy signatures activating throughout the system. There appears to be something on Phobos, Mars moon." "Ignore it," Minho ordered. "Final warning," he said to the screen. "Surrender or be destroyed." Commander Tai's expression didn't change. "I regret your decision." The transmission cut. Minho nodded to his tactical officer. "Fire." Before the order could be carried out, the lights on the bridge flickered. Consoles went dark. Emergency lighting activated, bathing the bridge in red. "What's happening?" Minho demanded. "System failure across the ship," the tactical officer reported, frantically working at his dead console. Nothing's responding. Similar reports flooded in from the other ships in the battle group. 11 of the 12 vessels went dark almost simultaneously, their engines, weapons, and communication systems shut down by an invisible attack. Only the Asterisk Unyielding Force Asterisk maintained minimal function, enough to receive a transmission from the Asterisk Distant Horizon Asterisk. Commander Tai appeared on the small emergency screen at Minho's command chair. "Your vessels have been disabled, Admiral. Life support and basic functions remain operational. Your crews are in no danger." "What have you done?" Minho demanded. "I activated the Sol System Defense Network," Tai replied calmly. "Platforms placed in strategic positions throughout the solar system, designed to protect Earth from outside threats. They've been dormant for 50,000 years, but they still function perfectly." The image shifted to show a live feed from space. Small, angular objects were emerging from the surface of Phobos, from the asteroid belt, even from beneath the surface of Mars itself. The objects were smooth and black, difficult for sensors to detect even when active. "Impossible," whispered Minho. "Our surveys detected nothing. They were designed to remain hidden until activated," Tai explained. "Human technology evolved quickly during our war. We learned to hide our most important assets where no one would think to look." Minho's face flushed with anger. "The Confederation will not tolerate this attack." "This was not an attack, Admiral. It was a demonstration." Tai's voice remained calm. "Had I wished to destroy your ships, they would be debris now. Instead, I chose to disable them temporarily. Your systems will reboot in approximately 6 hours." The human leaned closer to the camera. "Take this message back to your council. Earth is under my protection. I have no quarrel with the Confederation, but I will defend my homeworld. Any military vessels entering this system without permission will be treated as hostile." "The Confederation spans millions of worlds," Minho said. "You cannot hope to stand against us." For the first time, Ta smiled. It was not a pleasant expression. "I don't need to stand against millions of worlds, Admiral. I only need to protect one. And as you've just witnessed, I am quite capable of doing so." The transmission ended. On the bridge of the crippled flagship, Minho stared at the blank screen. For the first time in his 40-year military career, he had been defeated without a single shot fired. 6 hours later, as promised, the systems on all 11 disabled ships came back online. The Asterisk Distant Horizon Asterisk was gone, having disappeared into the depths of space, while the battle group was helpless. When Admiral Minho returned to Confederation space, he brought with him a message and a warning. Earth had a guardian, and the galaxy would do well to remember it. Professor Sue stared at the ancient stone tablet, her fingers trembling as she traced the symbols. After the Mars incident 3 months ago, the Confederation had ordered all archaeological teams to re-examine artifacts related to extinct civilizations. What she found on this remote moon had kept her awake for 3 straight days. "It's a warning," she told her assistant. "The same warning we've now found on 17 different worlds." The symbols showed humanoid figures fighting against dark, many-limbed creatures. Above them all was a distinctive spiral pattern that matched the one found on Commander Tai's stasis chamber on Earth. The human wasn't lying. Sue whispered. They were hunted. Aboard the Asterisk Distant Horizon Asterisk, now traveling through the outer territories of Confederation space. Captain June watched Commander Ta study the star charts on the main display. The human had gradually earned her trust over the past months. He had kept his word not to harm her crew, and had even allowed most of them to return to Confederation space with a small shuttle. June had chosen to stay. After witnessing what happened at Mars, she knew the human needed guidance in this new era. More importantly, she believed his warnings. "Another colony has gone silent," she said, approaching him with a data tablet. "Novoterra in the Perseus arm. 3rd one this month." Tai's expression darkened as he reviewed the report. "The pattern is the same. Yes, no distress calls. No signs of battle. The investigation team found empty buildings, half-eaten meals, abandoned vehicles, as if everyone simply vanished at once. Tai closed his eyes briefly. The light patterns beneath his skin pulsed faster, a sign Jun had learned meant he was processing information rapidly. "It's them," he said finally. "The swarm followed the same pattern in the early stages of our war. They take the population first. Later, they return for the resources. Why would they wait 50,000 years to return?" Jun asked. "They don't think in terms of human timescales. The swarm are patient. They move through the galaxy in waves, harvesting and then retreating to process what they've taken. We believe they operated on a cycle of roughly 100,000 years." Jun shivered. "If that's true, they're due for another cycle." Ta nodded grimly. "And the Confederation isn't ready. Your standardized technology, your predictable defense protocols, the swarm will adapt to them instantly." He turned back to the star map, focusing on the Perseus arm. "We need to see for ourselves. The Confederation Council won't believe me without proof." "Novoterra is 2 weeks away at maximum speed," Jun said. Tai smiled faintly. "Not with the propulsion system I've modified." 6 hours later, the distant horizon emerged from what Tai called fold space near Novoterra. The journey had been disorienting. The stars seemed to bend around the ship before snapping back into place. "Impossible," Engineer Do whispered, checking the navigation systems. "We've traveled 2,000 light-years in hours." "Human technology," Ta said simply. "Developed out of necessity when we were being hunted across the stars." The planet Novoterra hung in space before them, looking peaceful from orbit. Green continents, blue oceans, white clouds, a perfect colony world with a population of 8 million. Now empty. "Scan for energy signatures," Tai ordered. "I'm detecting unusual activity on the far side of the planet," Do reported. "Nothing that matches Confederation technology." Tai's expression hardened. "Take us there. Remain in high orbit." As the ship moved around the planet, they saw them. Massive black ships, each one at least 20 times larger than the distant horizon. They hung over the main continental mass like enormous predators. Smaller craft moved between the surface and the larger vessels. "The harvesters," Ta whispered, "just as I remember them." The ships were angular, with no apparent windows or external features. They seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it, making them appear as holes in space. "What are they doing down there?" Jun asked, her voice barely audible. "Stripping the planet of all usable resources," Tai replied. "After taking the population for processing." Before Jun could ask what he meant by processing, alarms blared across the bridge. "We've been detected," Do shouted. "One of the smaller vessels is approaching." Ta moved quickly to the control console. "The distant horizon can't stand against them. We need to retreat." "We can't just leave," Jun protested. "We won't," Tai assured her, "but we need to fight on our terms, not theirs." The pursuing craft accelerated toward them, moving faster than any Confederation vessel could manage. On the view screen, they could see it clearly now, a smooth black shape like a curved blade, with no visible propulsion system. "They'll overtake us before we can initiate fold space," Do warned. Tai's fingers moved across the console, activating systems he had modified over the past months. "I've been preparing for this possibility." The lights beneath his skin pulsed rapidly as he interfaced directly with the ship's systems. Panels opened along the distant horizon's hull, revealing weapons that hadn't been there before. "What are those?" Jun asked. "Human weapons," Tai replied, "designed specifically to fight the swarm." The pursuing vessel was almost upon them when Tai fired. A pulse of blue-white energy shot from the distant horizon, striking the swarm craft directly. Instead of exploding, the black ship seemed to fold in on itself, collapsing like paper being crushed by an invisible hand. On the main display, they could see the larger swarm ships changing course, now moving toward their position. They recognized the weapon signature, Ta said, his voice tight. They remember us. Can we fight them all? June asked. Ta shook his head. Not yet. But now we have confirmation. And more importantly, they know a human still lives. As the Fold space drive activated, Tai watched the swarm ships growing larger on the screen. For the first time in 50,000 years, the ancient enemies faced each other again. They fear us, Ta said quietly. And they should. The stars bent around them, and the distant horizon vanished from Novoterra space, carrying its warning back to a confederation that would now have to face the truth. The Confederation Council chamber had never been so full. Representatives from every member world crowded the tiered seats. Emergency holograms allowed thousands more to participate virtually. All eyes focused on the center platform where Commander Ta stood beside Captain June. First Minister Jin raised her hand for silence. We have confirmed the loss of 5 colony worlds to these swarm entities, millions of citizens gone. The evidence cannot be ignored. Ta stepped forward. The once pristine Confederation uniform he wore was now modified with elements of his Guardian tech. Light patterns pulsed beneath the skin of his hands and face as he addressed the council. The swarm won't stop with those worlds. Their harvest cycle has begun again. Your Confederation faces extinction, just as humanity did 50,000 years ago. Admiral Minho, still smarting from the Mars incident, stood from his seat. And we should trust you. You've proven yourself a threat to Confederation security. I am the last guardian of Earth, Tay replied calmly. My purpose is to protect humanity. But humanity is gone, except for me. I offer you what remains of human knowledge and technology. It's your only chance. What do you want in return? First Minister Jin asked. Your help, Ta said simply. I need resources to search for any humans who might have survived. Before Earth fell, we sent ships, hundreds of them, into deep space. Ships designed to hide, to wait, to preserve what remained of our species. The council chamber erupted in debate. Some representatives shouted that they couldn't trust the human. Others argued they had no choice. The swarm had already taken 5 worlds in less than a month. Captain June stepped forward. I've watched Commander Ta destroy a swarm harvester with modified weapons on our survey ship. I've seen what he can do. Whatever you think of him, he's our best hope. 3 days later, a combined fleet of 500 Confederation warships gathered in Earth orbit. On the surface below, something remarkable was happening. Mountains split open, revealing launch bays hidden for 50 millennia. The oceans churned as massive structures rose from the deepest trenches. What had appeared to be natural formations, islands, canyons, entire mountain ranges, shifted and transformed. Earth had been waiting for this moment. The entire planet was a fortress, designed as humanity's last stand against the swarm. Ta stood on the bridge of the largest vessel to emerge from Earth's hidden shipyards. The Defender was 5 times larger than the biggest Confederation dreadnought. Its black hull absorbed light, making it difficult to gauge its true size. This was to be our final weapon. Ta explained to Captain June and Admiral Minho, who stood beside him in stunned silence. Built in secret as the swarm closed in, it was never deployed. Why? Minho asked. The swarm reached Earth before it was ready. Ta's expression darkened with memories. The crew was never assembled. I was supposed to captain this ship, lead the final counterattack. Instead, I became the Guardian, preserved to awaken it when the time came. Over the next week, Ta shared humanity's story with the Confederation leadership. He showed them records of the ancient war, how humans had fought valiantly, how they had developed weapons and defenses specifically designed to combat the swarm, how they had been driven back world by world, until only Earth remained. We weren't always warriors, Ta told them. We became them out of necessity. Everything you see here, the weapons, the ships, the technology, was developed in the crucible of extinction. The swarm continued to advance. 10 more worlds fell silent. The combined fleet prepared for what might be the final battle of the Confederation. "They're coming for Earth," Ta said, studying the tactical display. "They remember us. They fear what's hidden here." The battle began at the edge of the solar system. The swarm arrived in force, thousands of harvester ships and hundreds of the larger command vessels. The sight would have broken the morale of the Confederation fleet if not for the weapons Ta had provided them. The Defender led the charge, its ancient weapons tearing through the swarm's front line. For the first time in 50,000 years, the swarm faced the technology specifically designed to destroy them. In the midst of the battle, as ships exploded and energy weapons flashed across the void, Ta suddenly froze at his command station. The lights beneath his skin flared brightly. "What is it?" June asked, noticing his strange reaction. "A signal," Ta whispered, "buried in the background radiation, using protocols only humans would know." His fingers flew across the console, isolating the signal. It was faint, coming from far beyond Confederation space. A simple repeating pattern that translated to a set of coordinates and a single phrase in the ancient human language. "We endure." Tears formed in Ta's eyes, the first emotion many of the Confederation officers had seen him display. They survived. Someone survived. With renewed purpose, Ta turned his attention back to the battle. The swarm forces were in disarray, unprepared for the effectiveness of the human weapons. As they began to retreat, Ta gave the order to pursue. "We don't just drive them back," he commanded. "We end this. For humanity. For the Confederation. For all those lost in the last cycle." The final confrontation took place in deep space, far from any inhabited worlds. The Defender and its Confederation allies surrounded the remaining swarm command ships. 50,000 years ago, you thought you had exterminated us," Ta transmitted to the swarm vessels. "You were wrong. Humanity endures, and we will never allow you to harvest again." The Defender's main weapon activated, a device that Ta called simply the Unmaker. The swarm ships didn't explode or break apart. They simply ceased to exist, converted to base energy in an instant. In the aftermath, as the Confederation fleet returned to their worlds, Ta stood alone on the Defender's observation deck, looking out at the stars. Captain June found him there. "What will you do now?" she asked. Ta pointed to a distant section of the galaxy. "The signal came from there. Beyond your mapped space, I'm going to find them, what remains of my people." "The Confederation would welcome you as an ally," June said. "You saved us all." Ta smiled, a rare expression on his usually stoic face. "Perhaps one day our peoples will stand together openly. But first, I have a promise to keep." 3 days later, the Defender departed Earth orbit, heading toward the unknown regions of the galaxy. Ta left behind knowledge and technology for the Confederation, but took with him Earth's most powerful ships and weapons. The Guardian had awakened, fulfilled his duty to protect Earth, and now sought what had been lost. Somewhere among the countless stars, human survivors waited, hidden, enduring, hoping. And Ta was going to find them. The end.